Hello there, welcome to SmartGence training. So in this session, we will be creating a simple screen flow. So what the scenario which we are going to consider is, let's try creating a contact record from an account page, which is going to be associated to that particular account where we are in. Okay. So firstly, let me navigate to this flows page, right, and a process automation flows. So yeah, as seen earlier, this page would display all the existing flows in the org. So yeah, let it load. And yeah, to create a new flow, we would be having this new flow button over here, right? So clicking on new flow, we'd be led to the page where we would be able to select the type of flow which which you're going to create, right? So yeah, it's loading. Here it is. And as said, we are going to create a screen flow. So let me select screen flow, clicking on next, a free form, right? So yeah, we have this canvas and the elements and manager over here. So firstly, the screen flow will just start. So we want the inputs to be taken in a screen, right? So let me drag and drop the screen to this canvas. So yeah, as you could see, firstly let's label this flow. So let me label this as contact creation. API name would get auto populated. Description, if needed, we can put out. And here we could see whether we need to show the header or show the footer. So if I uncheck this, then the footer won't be available. If I check this, it will be available. Similar for header as well, right? So control navigation. So we can define what are the buttons to be specified over here in the footer. So I don't want this pass, so I remove this pass. And next I finish or previous. So this is just a literal buttons actually. So yes, for now we had defined the screen properties, right? So as said earlier, in a screen flow, we would be needing to get the inputs from the user. So for that, we have to define a few fields where we'll be getting the inputs, right? So for that, what we need to do is we have to select firstly the data type. So yeah, as you could see in the left pane, you'd be able to see all the something similar to the data type while creating a field, right? Like date, time, and stuff like that. So right now, what we're going to do is we are going to select the text data type and just drag and drop it over here, right? So and we need to define the label and stuff for this particular field. Okay, so here let me put the field name as first name. API name would get auto populated, and if you want this as required field, then we can mark this required, and if there are any default value, we can define this over here. Then yeah, this component visibility. So basically we can filter some conditions to display this particular component. And validate input is again more like a validation rule. So in case of any if you want a specific type of value to be input for this particular field, then we can define that over here. So that is what this basically is, right? Let me drag and drop another text field. So this basically is for last name, and I'm going to mark this as required as well, right? So yeah, this is done for now. Okay, right, then let me map these. Okay, so the next step would be we'll be getting the inputs from the users, right? So with those input, what we need to do, we need a record to be created, correct? So for that, we need to use this particular element. So let me drag and drop this particular element over here, and we need to label this element. So let me label this as contact creation element, right? And we are just going to create one record. So I've selected one, and yeah, this is the this is the place where we'll be mapping the inputs provided by the users to the actual field in the object, right? So we can select this first radio button if we map the inputs directly at the previous element which we have just created. I mean the screen element which we have created a few minutes back, right? But we haven't done that there, right? So here we just have to map it from this element. So for that, what we need to do is we can select this radio button, use separate resources and literal values. So with that, firstly we need to select the object. So as said, this would be the contact object. So I am selecting contact object, and here in this section we can set the field values for the contact record, right? So firstly we have this first name field, right? So I am mapping the first name field with the value first name which was provided by the user at the previous screen component. Similarly, add field last name field to the value last name in the previous screen. So now we have the first name and last name fields are mapped, correct? So one more thing what we need to do is we need to map that particular account with the newly created contact, right? So for that, let me add a new field, and the field we are talking about is the account ID, which is the relationship field between account and contact. And here the value is actually a variable, so that we can't get the input from the users, correct? Using that screen element which we have created just a few minutes back, right? So for that, what we need to do is we need to create a new resource which is of variable type, right? So here API name, let me name it as account ID. Description, I'll just leave it as is. And data type, here I'll just have the data type as text. So what I'll make this as available to input. So what I'm going to do is I'll get the ID, have it in this particular resource of text data type, and with which it will be mapped, right? So I have the resource being created, so I'm selecting done. So here, yeah, it get automat, and I'm selecting done, right? Then let me map this. I'll say how this would be mapped, okay, right? So let me add in one more screen. So here what I'm going to do is I'm just going to display a message like contact being created for the user benefits, right? So let me label this as success message element. All right, API name would get auto populated. And yeah, let me remove this header. Okay, so the component which I'm going to display would be a display text. So I can just define the message over here, success message display text. This is just a name, right? Yeah, I don't want any spaces. Okay, let me remove the spaces. Since this being an API name, we shouldn't have any spaces over here. So I have removed the spaces, and here we can define the message. So what I'm going to do is contact record created successfully, right? All right. So yeah, yes, everything has been defined over here, right? Then I'm going to done, right? Let me map these two then. Okay. So yeah, we now have the flow, right? So let me save this. I'm going to name this as contact creation flow. Okay, yeah, I'm saving this. It has got saved, and let's activate it. Yes, it is now activated. Okay, so now we want this flow to be placed in the account screen, correct? So for that, what we need to do is let me navigate to this accounts tab. Yeah, accounts tab, and yeah, here it is. And here in the account tab, let me open an account record. Okay, like yeah, let me open this University of Arizona. So we want the flow to be placed over here, right? So for that, what we need to do is we need to click on this gear icon, and we'll be able to see this edit page, right? So when I click on this edit page, I'll be led to the page. So this basically would be more like a page layout for a particular a record, I would say. Okay, so here we can add the component. I mean, not exactly the page layout, but more like a page layout. Okay, so here we can add the components and stuff like that instead of fields in the original page layout. So as you can see over here, we'll be having these components, right? So when I search for flows, flow, it will be available over here. So what we need to do is we need to just drag and drop this flow where we want that to be visible, right? So let me just drag and drop it over here. Okay, so it will be over here. Let it load. So once this being loaded, we'll be able to see the details of the existing flows in the right pane, right? Let's just give it a minute to load. Okay, yes, it has loaded already. So here we have this all the flows. So when I click on this, you'll be able to see all the flows are all the active flows existing in the org. So this contact creation flow is the ISR flow, right? So let me select this, and we can select the layout and stuff like that. So yeah, account ID we have selected, right? So since that being put as a resource of a variable, we would be able to have this over here. So what we need to do is when I click on this checkbox, what it would do is it would pass that particular record ID. I mean the record ID which we are right now into this variable. So I can just check this, and I'm going to save this. Okay, so this has been saved now. So let me go back to the page. Right, so now we would be able to see this particular flow screen available in this particular page, right? Let it load. Okay, here you can see the contact creation flow screen, right? So let me, yeah, as you could see over here, there are only two contacts right now. So let me create one. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to name this as, Jim Carey. Okay. So I'm clicking on next. Yes, we have this display text which we have defined over there. So I'm going to click on finish. Right? Yes. Now, as you could see, there are three contacts named Jim Carrey, which we have just created using that particular screen flow. So when I click on this, yeah, it will be available over here. So this is how we'll be using the screen flow. Thank you and happy learning.